Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world. Now, this is a compressed structural companion to our deep dive, and we're using the book The Hidden Half of Nature as a case study. Just to be clear, this is not a summary, and it's definitely not advice. It's a look at how an invisible system actually works.
So we're going to use this book to explore how these invisible microbial systems shape our world, and we're going to follow a really clear path. First, we'll identify the system, then understand the incentives acting on it, track its outcomes, see why it persists, and finally connect it all back to the bigger picture. Okay, let's dive right in. All right, first things first, we have to clearly identify the system we're even talking about, and that is the vast, interconnected microbial world that, it turns out, underpins pretty much all of life.
This right here is the invisible infrastructure. You know, the book reveals this incredible biological foundation that fundamentally connects the health of the land to the health of our bodies. Think of it as a parallel system, working both beneath our feet in the soil and right inside our own gut.
This quote from the book just nails the shift in perspective perfectly. It's this idea that what we can't see isn't just some minor detail. No, it's the very foundation of the world that we can see.
And here's the kicker. This external system in the soil has a direct parallel operating inside every single one of us, the human microbiome. It is an internal ecosystem that is every bit as complex and every bit as vital.
Okay, so let's move on to the next step and see how this all builds. If this system is so important, why do our modern systems interfere with it so often? Well, the answer, as it so often is, lies in the incentives. What's really going on here are two parallel logics playing out at the same time. You know, in agriculture, the whole system rewards things that are fast and uniform, and that leads to chemical solutions that just wreak havoc on the complex soil ecosystem. Meanwhile, in medicine, the legacy of germ theory created this powerful incentive to see pretty much all microbes as potential enemies, which leads to practices that can really harm our microbial partners by mistake. So what happens when you apply this logic of simplification to a complex, living system? Well, you get predictable failures. You start to see errors pop up. So what are the direct outcomes of treating our microbial allies this way?
To really wrap our heads around the outcomes, let's use a really powerful metaphor from the book. Just think of these microbial communities as the fundamental operating system for both the soil and for our bodies.
Now this is such a great way to visualize the problem. Look at the plant on the left, the one on the fertilizer diet. It's like it's running on an operating system that's missing huge chunks of code. Sure, it works, but it needs constant external patches just to keep going. But the one on the right, the soil life diet, well, that represents the fully functional, self-regulating resilient system. And the results of running on that stripped-down OS? They're totally predictable. Errors and crashes. In the soil, it means a loss of natural fertility and resilience. And in our bodies, as the book details, it means a compromised immune system, one that's way more susceptible to the kind of chronic inflammation that's linked to so many modern diseases.
So, if the outcomes of this simplification are so negative, if they create all these dependencies and system failures, why does it keep going? The problem isn't just chemical or biological. It's a problem of perception.
This system of simplification hangs on for a few key reasons. First, the damage happens slowly. It's gradual, often totally invisible. Second, the benefits of a healthier system, they're really spread out, and it's hard to trace them back to a single cause. And third, and this is a big one, our institutions are built in silos. You've got agriculture over here, medicine way over there, and that structure completely hides the deep connections between them.
So here it is, the crucial point. The fundamental problem is a failure of perception. We treat two deeply connected parts of a single, coupled infrastructure system as if they are completely unrelated. That is the crisis in perception.
And this crisis in perception, it's not some small academic issue. Oh no, it has massive downstream consequences that connect directly to some of the biggest challenges we're facing as a society.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the stakes. I mean, the health of this invisible microbial infrastructure, it's not just about a backyard garden or your personal gut health. It sits upstream of our environment, the economics of our entire food system, our ballooning healthcare costs, and the actual nutritional quality of our food. So the final point really brings us back to that structural clarity. Our failure to see this vast, interconnected system has left us building critical aspects of our modern civilization, our food, our health, our economies, on a biological foundation that is quietly, invisibly being degraded.
Crisis in Perception examines how systems shape belief and how better tools help us see clearly. This project is free and publicly accessible. If you'd like to support the time, tools, and research behind Crisis in Perception, you can become a supporter on Patreon. For a longer, audio-based analysis of this topic, see the deep dive linked in the description. If you enjoy this kind of systems-level analysis, please like, subscribe, and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.